Good morning. If everyone could please find a seat, our ceremony is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm apparently too short for these microphones. Good morning. I'm Pete Crane. I'm the Vice President of Education and Access. Here at the National World War II Museum. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our Memorial Day Commemoration ceremony. To begin today's program, please stand as the Color Guard presents our nation's colors and the Victory Bells perform the national anthem. Color Guard, present the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Please be seated. Thank you. In keeping with our museum tradition, I'd like to begin the program by recognizing World War II veterans, home front workers, or Holocaust survivors in the audience participating, either here or virtually. And I'll ask them to identify themselves from their seats, and I know we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Edward Tesh, who served in the Merchant Marine from 1944 to 1947. So please, let's recognize our World War II veterans, home front workers, and Holocaust survivors. It's our honor to pay tribute to you and your service every day, as well as those who served with you. So thank you. I'd also like to recognize all other veterans, active duty, retired, who are in attendance with us today, and their families, any service families as well. Please stand or wave to be recognized. Thank you for continuing to serve our nation and continue that legacy of great service. I'd like to extend a welcome to Gold Star family member Dolores Milhouse, who you will hear from later on in today's ceremony. Thanks to Dolores for being here today. We're so grateful for the generous support of the sponsors who have helped make today's commemoration possible. People's Health, the Navy Federal Credit Union, and AARP of Louisiana. Thank you very much. We thank our sponsors for their continued support of the museum and to help us honor veterans and all those who served in branches of the U.S. military. The museum's truly privileged to have an incredible network of supporters and partners who champion our mission. This morning, we have some of our Patriot Circle and Charter members with us today, as well as supporters of our educational programs and capital projects here in attendance. So thanks to all of those supporters to help us every day. It's their ongoing support that allows us to make programs like this possible. Thank you for your continued commitment to the museum and our educational mission. Before today's ceremony, you heard a performance from American Legion Post 377th Band, many of whom are veterans themselves. If you missed their performance, be sure to stick around as they're going to be performing again at the conclusion of the program. Please join me in a round of applause for the American Legion Post 377th Band. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage Jonathan Wickstrom from People's Health for a few remarks. People's Health is a longtime supporter of our commemorative programs. Jonathan.
All right, good afternoon. And thank you, Colonel, for that kind introduction. Appreciate it. So I'm pleased to be here today as we honor and remember military personnel who lost their lives while serving in the armed forces. People's Health has been a proud sponsor of the National WWII Museum since 2009 and honored to partner with the National WWII Museum on this commemorative Memorial Day. Our community enjoys a brighter future because of the museum's recognition to veterans and ensuring their stories are told to generations in the future. As a Medicare Advantage company based in Louisiana, serving more than 99,000 members, People's Health is focused on providing healthcare solutions that foster the best health possible for our plan members. We also place great importance on active, united, and engaged communities. People's Health is very proud to provide a whole portfolio of products, including a plan for veterans. We hope you enjoy today's program. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call our President and CEO, Stephen Watson, to stage.
All right, sorry, Pete. Got to put these back up. Thank you, Pete, and thank you to everybody for joining us here on this most important day. And just a quick special thank you to you, Jonathan. Thank you for your service to our country. We really appreciate the great partnership we've had with People's Health, as you said, going back to 2009. They've been a great sponsor of our commemorative programs, and really one of our key sponsors of some of our most important here at the museum, people at the museum, and that's our volunteers. So thank you, Jonathan, and thank you to People's Health. So today we, of course, gather to remember those, as you heard, who gave their lives on the battlefields throughout American history. In World War II alone, 414,920 American service members and merchant mariners were killed in action. I think here at the National World War II Museum, we understand the importance of ensuring that their sacrifice is not forgotten and that future generations will hear the stories of those who fought valiantly to secure our victory in World War II and defend the freedom that we all enjoy today. Later this fall, we will open our last permanent exhibition pavilion here at the National World War II Museum. It's this building right here on our campus, the Liberation Pavilion, which really represents the last chapter of our mission. What does World War II mean today? And the first galleries in that pavilion will really focus on the cost of victory. And when you come into Liberation, you'll get an immense sense of service and sacrifice. The first exhibits that you will encounter are exhibits dedicated to the 16.1 million men and women who put on a uniform during World War II and the 414,920 that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And as you go through that exhibit, you'll be reminded that freedom is not free. Our victory in World War II came at a tremendous cost, and it is important. It's core to what we do here every single day, that we don't forget those that paid that heavy burden to secure the freedoms that we all enjoy. Of course, we also recognize here at the National World War II Museum that service and sacrifice extend beyond World War II. And that's why this fall, we are really thrilled to join with the City of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana in hosting the 2023 Congressional Medal of Honor Society's annual convention and meeting. I think, simply put, this convention is one of the most prestigious and patriotic gatherings in the country. The convention is the largest annual gathering of Medal of Honor recipients. Those are those that have received our nation's highest award for military valor. And it's really going to provide our community with a unique opportunity to be inspired by the values of the society and the Medal of Honor recipients: courage, sacrifice, integrity, commitment, patriotism, and citizenship. You know, during our country's history, tens of millions of men and women who've put on a military uniform, and I believe only 3,516 have received the Medal of Honor. Today, there are 65 surviving Medal of Honor recipients, and it's going to be an incredible privilege for us this fall to host them here in New Orleans for a week and bring them into every corner of our community. So I thought on this Memorial Day, I'd like to take a moment just to share the story of one Medal of Honor recipient whose story is forever captured here in our exhibits. And that is Seaman First Class Johnny Hutchins. Johnny Hutchins was stationed aboard LST-473, and during an assault in New Guinea on September 4th, 1943, a torpedo was spotted heading directly for the ship. Before the helmsman could steer away, the ship was struck by a bomb. The explosion knocked the helmsman from the pilot house and mortally wounded Hutchins. Literally using the last of his strength, Hutchins grasped the ship's wheel, turned the ship out of the path of the torpedo. And of course, for his actions that day, he was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor in 1944. Seaman First Class Johnny Hutchins' Medal of Honor is proudly and permanently displayed in the museum's Road to Tokyo exhibits. If you have not had a chance to visit our Campaigns of Courage Pavilion, I hope you will today, and you can see Seaman First Class Johnny Hutchins' medal in our island hopping section of that exhibit right after the Seabees Gallery. And of course, you can also, while you're in this building today, the US Freedom Pavilion, the Boeing Center, go to the second floor in our Laborde Services Gallery. Those faces that you see on the wall up there are of the 473 Medal of Honor recipients from World War II. And you can read all of the citations of each of those Medal of Honor recipients. Something else that we recognize here at the National World War II Museum is that military service members do not serve alone, and military families are acutely aware of the sacrifice that military service brings. No one feels the weight of Memorial Day more than Gold Star families who have lost a loved one in service to our country. Later this fall, we will dedicate a Gold Star Families monument right here on our campus. We feel that it's important that every day there is a place permanently on the campus of the National World War II Museum that provides a place for Gold Star families to come and have a place to remember and honor their loved ones, and for us to remember and honor their sacrifice. This was actually a project that we began several years ago with a Medal of Honor recipient, Woody Williams. Woody was the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II for his actions at Iwo Jima. Woody left us last July, but his mission for the last decade or so of his life was to ensure that there was a Gold Star Families monument in every state in our country. He and his foundation and his team have accomplished that goal, and we are proud that one of them will be right here on the campus of the National World War II Museum. So with that, as Pete said earlier, we are truly, truly honored today to be joined by Dolores Milhouse, daughter of Medal of Honor recipient U.S. Army Lieutenant James Robinson. First Lieutenant Robinson was killed in action on April 6, 1945, near the village of Kressbach, Germany. Dolores, a Gold Star family member, traveled here today from Dallas to be with us and is joined by her son and grandson Timothy from Oregon, and Tristan, her grandson, from Las Vegas. With that, I hope you all give a warm welcome to Dolores Milhouse to share with us some remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My name is Dolores Milhouse. I'm the daughter of Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, First Lieutenant James Edward Robinson, Jr. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'd like to introduce some other members of my family. One is my son, Timothy, Tim, and my grandson, Tristan James O'Neill. It's very ironic when I got the invitation from Jessica. 4 days ago, my grandson, Tristan, was exactly the same age that my father was when he was killed. Thank you for being here. I've often been asked what it was like growing up as the daughter of a World War II hero. Most people don't remember that I was 2 years old at the time he died, and I'm 80 years old today. However, at the age of 6, I began to realize that my father was special. He was unique. Family members would talk about him. Friends would talk about how much they missed him, how much they loved him. So although I didn't have personal memories at that time, I remembered how special he was. About the age of 9, my mother gave me a book that had been given to her. And it was a book of all the Medal of Honor recipients from the Civil War through the end of World War II. I immediately looked up my father in the book. There was a photograph of him and his citation. And as I read his citation, I began to realize even more how special he was. I'm sorry, I have to refer to my notes. At the same time, my mother gave me all the letters he had written to her while he was overseas. His handwriting was absolutely beautiful. No one writes that beautifully today. It's gorgeous. But I've read his letters over and over and over. He would always say to my mom, "Don't worry, I'll be home soon." He would always do a PS to me at the end, "You be a good girl, Daddy will be home soon." I'm sorry, Pete. The letters that Mother received from the men who had served with my father were true love letters. Those men loved him. One gentleman even wrote to my mother and told her that he would gladly have laid down his life if Jimmy could have come home to my mom and me. And I don't doubt at all the man meant it from his heart. I began to collect all I could on my father. I made notebooks, everything I could put my hands on, newspaper articles, all of his letters, anything I could find. And then in 1982, I got my first computer. And that opened up a whole new world to me, to be able to go and research things on my father. Today, you can Google James Edward Robinson Jr., and it's just over and over many, many, many things. But then it was difficult. I had to go to the library and look up things. But my computer just did wonderful things. In fact, one of the things I was able to do, my mother had always told me that my father had fibbed about his age when he entered the National Guard in 1935. She said he put on there that he was born in 1918, but she said, in fact, he was born in 1919. I got a copy of his original birth certificate. He was born in 1919, but he wanted so much to go into the National Guard and later the Army that he fibbed about his age. Excuse me. One day I told my mother a story that I kind of vaguely remembered, and I don't know why I remembered it. I think it was the feelings that I remembered more than anything. But I told her this story, and she remembered it. She remembered the day. She remembered the day that this happened. We lived in a tiny little house, and I was sitting at the front door. The front door was open, but it had a screen door. And the screen door had a latch way up in the corner, just where I couldn't quite reach it. I'm sure that was on purpose. But I was sitting there playing, and there was a wire that had been pulled out of the screen door through snagging on something, I don't know what. And if you flicked it with your finger, it would go whoa, 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 whoa. And I did it again. Whoa, 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 whoa. And I was sitting there playing with that little piece of wire. And a gentleman came walking up the sidewalk. He tried to open the screen door. It was locked. He called to my mother. My mother came and unlocked the screen door. He stepped in, gave her a hug and a kiss. Then he reached down and he picked me up, and he set me up on his shoulders. He took off his hat, put his hat on my head, and then he began to dance around the living room. I felt so big and so strong. I can do anything. With my daddy bouncing me around, I just was overwhelmed with, I could do anything. And throughout my life, when I have been faced with a difficult situation or a task or something really difficult, I remember that feeling, I can do anything. And it helps me. I have been very successful in this life. I have been around the world. I couldn't even begin to tell you. My father physically may have left this earth, but his spirit has stayed with me always. And for me, when people ask, what was it like growing up as the daughter of a World War II hero, those are my memories. And I thank you so much for being here, and I thank you for honoring all these men. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dolores. We're so grateful to you for sharing the significance of your father's service and sacrifice for all of us. On Memorial Day, we remember those who lost their lives in combat and those who were never found after the war, whose families never received closure. So in honor of them, I'd like to now draw your attention to the table on my left, your right, as the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol conducts the Missing Man Table Ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to present to you a table set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. Tray, please. This setting you are about to see before you is filled with much symbolism. Please let me explain. It is to remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from all branches of service that are too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The empty chair depicts an unknown face representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, but all who are not here with us. The chair cover, please. Let us remember their absence. The table is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. Let us remember them. The tablecloth. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms so that their children could remain free. Remember. The Bible. The Bible represents faith in a higher power and the pledge to our country founded as one nation under God. Remember. The place setting. The place setting for one, the one who is away from all who cherish them. Remember. A slice of lemon. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember. The salt shaker. The salt shaker, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember. The napkin. The black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends. A Purple Heart medal is attached to remember the wounds they have encountered. Remember. The wine glass. The wine glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight, maybe tomorrow. The candle. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against their oppressors. The yellow ribbon symbolizes the everlasting hope of a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for. Remember. The rose. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. We will now light the candle. Remember. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. A moment of silence. As we extinguish this candle, let us transfer its flames to our hearts. Remember. Please extinguish the candle. Thank you for sharing this moment of remembrance, brought to you by the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol.
Thank you to the Civil Air Patrol for reminding us of the fallen, imprisoned, and missing service members on this significant day. Please join me in standing for the sounding of taps, and please remain standing afterwards for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Thanks again to you, Dolores, for your memories of today. Thanks to the Civil Air Patrol, the Tangipahoa's Cadet Squadron, as well as the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron and the American Legion Post 377th Band for helping us to commemorate this important day. Each day here at the museum, it's our mission to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice and remember the families who continue to endure their great loss. As one of our great friends, Gary Sinise, always says, it's never enough. As we finish, I'd like to invite you to join us. We have a number of upcoming events. This Friday, on the 2nd of June, we will have a screening of the American Battle Monuments Commission documentary. These are the government agency that cares for our fallen at the 26 American cemeteries overseas. I'd also like to invite you to join us on the 6th of June as we honor those who landed on the Normandy beaches at our Dr. Hal Baumgarten D-Day ceremony. And we will also have a special event that evening commemorating our founding fathers of the museum, because it's also the museum's birthday. We'll have a special showing of a WYES television show about the museum's founding. Again, thank you all for joining us on this special commemoration ceremony, either here or virtually on our campus here in New Orleans. Please join us again. Take care, and we'll see you next time here at the National World War II Museum.